Okay. Those that are joining us online, can you see my screen now? Hello?
This call is now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Alright.
You can see your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So now, I've clicked on edit. Okay. After clicking on edit, then it takes me here to Power Query Editor. Is that okay? Hello? Can I continue? Those that are online.
Sorry, please, can you go back a bit?
Please, sir, can you go back a bit so
Yes,
that we
sir.
can follow?
Yes, sir. You can continue. You can continue, sir.
I can continue. Okay. So the stage before here is that after importing, after going to data, go to new query and you select the data. The next thing is to click on import. Okay. And then by the time you get to click on import, you'll be able to preview the data. After previewing the data, then you click on edit. Yes, after clicking on that edit, it is that edit that now takes us to this Power Query Editor here. Is that okay? So now we want to split this date column now. And I said that we have to.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Please, since what we were seeing was a blank sheet, we could not follow. So I don't know if you can like go back a little bit, starting from where you imported the data so that we can follow now that everything is on the screen.
Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Yes.
It's okay. So you click on data. After clicking on data, click on new query. Select Excel workbook. That's how my file is being saved. Then I go to desktop, go to Excel, I click on sales management data, I click import. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. We can.
Clearly.
Okay, so now you can select multiple items. Okay, so this is where you preview your data. So now if I want to preview this is the data, I'll click on it. You can see I'm previewing the data already. So now previewing the data will make you to check if the data is properly organized or not. If the data is having missing value, if it is if the column are not well defined, if it's having error in any of the cell, this is where you detect it. Okay. So now if the data is okay, the next thing you do is to load the data. Are you with me? You click on the load button at the down part here. But if the data has any abnormality, then you have to take it to Power Query Editor for cleaning. Okay, so the only issue that this data has is the date and time being combined. Okay, in which I want to split the date from the time so that they can have separate column. Is that okay? So now for us to do that, then I'm going to click on edit. So it is edit from my own end here. From your own end, it can be transformed and you can see have it as edit. It's still the same thing. Okay, then I click on edit. So when I click on edit, it will take me to Power Query Editor. Okay, so now this is the Power Query Editor. This is where everything about your data cleaning lies. Okay, so now I want to split this column. I now said that we have two options of splitting column here. Okay, but if you are making use of Power BI, we have more than two options here. Okay, so we have by delimiter and we have by number of characters. So I was now trying to explain the difference between the two. By delimiter means that if you have two different texts joined together, if you have maybe comma or any symbol separate in between them, then you can use that to separate the two columns, the two texts. So that's by delimiter. Okay, but we have by number of characters. By number of characters means that by the time you count number of characters, especially if they are uniform, like this one now, we have uniform entry here. You can see the date and time have equal numbers of characters, and even the time has equal numbers of characters. So that's why it is best to use number of characters here. But in a situation whereby we have the first test to be maybe 9 for the date, the second one is 8. Maybe some of the items here have 01/02 slash something like that. So it won't be 8 again. You understand? That means I cannot use the number of character in that case because it's not uniform. Is that okay? So now what you do is that you click on the date here, the column. After clicking on the column, then you come here, you select by number of characters. But to count the number of character here, this 1, 2, you are going to count the slash with it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The total is 8 before we get to the time. So now I'm going to click on number of characters. And after clicking on number of characters, I'm going to choose 8 here. Okay, so now after selecting 8, so we have ones as far left as possible. You can see it, we have ones as far right as possible, and we have repeatedly. We are going to choose ones as far left as possible so that you can count the number of characters from the left, okay, before splitting it. Then if I'm choosing ones as far right as possible, that means that I'm counting the 8 from the right, okay? And then we have repeatedly. Repeatedly means that, let's say you have a long text, which means that after 8 characters, you should be splitting it. So let's say, for instance, you have 16, you have 24 characters. After the first 8, you split it. The next 8, you split it like that, okay? So now if I choose ones as far left as possible, then I'm going to click OK. And when I click OK, you will see that it has been splitted, right? Then I can now rename the headings, the heading of the column. I can rename this as date. And I can rename this as time. Is that okay? So now you notice that we are not having our query settings here. So you can click on view and click on query settings so that you can be seeing the steps. The steps we've done, the step of the cleaning process. Yes, you can have it here. So that if you want to go back one step, you'll be able to go click here by clicking on this X here. Okay? Is that okay? Those that are joining us online, any challenge?
No,
sir, we're following.
Oh, yeah, hope I'm not too fast.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but okay.
All right, so that's fine. So any question there? Is it working through? So now after doing that, now the next thing is to load our data. Yes, we have successfully splitted the column. So now we go to home, and when you go to home, then you say close and load. You're going to select close and load, which I just did. So then you'll be expecting your data to load in your Excel. So can you see that my data has loaded, right? So let me remove this sheet because we don't need it. So now I have region, product, outlet, salesperson, sales, date, and time. Okay, so this is my data. So now the next thing is that if you have been given a data set, you'll be given the objectives. Okay, and then if you check this data, the data is more than 3,000 entries. Imagine if an organization wants to know how much sales is incurred by individual salesperson. Does that mean that they will not be checking through each of these data one after the other? No, it's not possible. Okay, so that's where business analysis now come into place, whereby you can now you can extract meaningful information from this data set, especially voluminous data. So now to do that, now we have what we call pivot table. We have pivot table. What pivot table does is that it's a tools in analysis that enable us to summarize, analyze data to give us meaningful information. Okay, so like now, if I want to get what is the sales incurred by individual salesperson, all I'll just do is that particular variable that I need, which is salesperson and sales, I'll just use to extract the information from this table. Then I will now have my total sales, the total sales incurred by each salesperson. So now, how do we do that? So number one objective we'll be dealing with here now is that the first objective will be we want to know the sales incurred by the salespersons. Okay, then we can now compare across the region. We can also compare across the outlets, and you can also look into the sales incurred, the sales made on each product. The sales made on each product, and then we can still look into sales across the region. You can say sales across the region and outlets. And we can also have sales incurred over time, or the total sales over time, made over time. So how many objectives have I stated now? Is it up to 4? 4, okay. So now those are the 4 objectives that we'll be dealing with. But there are situations whereby the organization will not give you the objectives. The organization will only give you data set. Then they will tell you that give us an insight from these data sets. So now you as a data analyst, you now be the one to now look into the data set and give them the information or analysis that will be more beneficial to the organization. Are you getting me? So if they say you should give an insight, that means that give us any various analysis that will be useful to our organization. That's what it means. That will enhance our growth. Okay. So now let me now start with the analysis. So the first thing is we are going to create a pivot table, and I've already explained what the pivot table is. To create a pivot table, you go to data. Is it data? No. You go to insert. Yes, you go to insert. So when you go to insert, you go to pivot table. You go to pivot table. After selecting pivot table, it has already captured the name of our data, which is sales management data. Then you click OK. So are we all here? Is it working there? It's not. When you go to insert, you click on pivot table. Then but another thing is, before you click on pivot table, you should make sure that your cursor is within the data. Your cursor should be within the data. Let me go back here. Your cursor, this is your cursor now. Your cursor should, why is this one now? Your cursor should be within the data. Okay. Then you go to insert. There you say pivot table. Is that not where you are? Yeah. Okay, I'm coming. Those that are online, so are you following up?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's fine. I'm coming. So if you're having an option of from table range, that means that you're going to select from table range. Okay. So by the time you select from table range, then it will take you to where you can click OK. Yes, it's displaying already. Yes, I'm coming. So are we on the same page? Okay. So after clicking on OK, then you are going to have this. So the pivot table fits. This is a pivot table fit. Okay. And the pivot table fits will comprise of all the headings, or let me say headings of each column that you have in your data set. Okay. You know, we have region, we have sales, we have salesperson, we have outlets, we have product and region. All those headings, or let me say all those headers are here or your pivot table fits. Sometimes this pivot table feed might not be showing. If it's not showing, you click here, you right click, and you say view feed list or show feed list. Yeah, because the reason why it's showing hide feed list is because we are having it showing already. What I'm saying is if this part is not showing, sometimes it doesn't show. Okay, so you have to right click on the pivot table here and say click on show feed list. So now that we have this, the next thing is on the pivot table feeds, we have filter, we have columns, we have rows, and we have values. Okay, any of your columns that has value attributes can only be subjected to values under these values here. Okay, so now any of your variable that is a text variable can only take either rows or the columns. Okay, and then we also have filter. Filter means that, say for instance, now you are comparing, let's say, sales across across region, and then you now want to streamline that analysis to a particular region, maybe east or north. That's when you now make use of this filter. Are you getting me? So let's take a step ahead. So now in this data now, the only column that is a value attribute is the sales, isn't it? So now I'm taking the sales to under the value. And if you see now, it's displaying here, but it's displaying as count of sales. It's supposed to be sum of sales. So I can right click here and say, let me go to value settings. Then I will choose sum. So what is it showing on your old system? Is it count or sum? Sum. Okay. There are situations whereby it won't give you sum to show as count. And if it's showing as count, you might not get the information that you needed. Okay. So you have to click on this drop down and go to value fit settings and choose sum. Is that okay? Any challenge? So those that are joining us online, is there any challenge?
I'm good.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
sir.
all right. So that's fine. So now let's continue. So now after taking my sales to values, then what's our first objective? We want to compare sales across what? By salesperson, right? So now I can take my salesperson to the rows. I'm taking my salesperson to the row while I might have him blank here. Okay, so when you have this now, you can see from that 3,000 data entry now, it has extracted the sales incurred by each salesperson. So from here, this is a pivot table. From here, you can now know how much sales is incurred by each and who is having the highest sales. So now let's say, for instance, now the organization wants to do a performance appraisal, or let me say they want to give promotion. Okay, they will now look into who is the one that is giving us making more sales. Then from here now you'll be able to determine who has the highest sales here. Is your announcement? Yeah, it's Kevin Freak. So you can say, oh, it's Kevin Freak that deserves promotions among how many are they among the four staff. So followed by Anna Smith, right? Then followed by who? Mark Harris. Then the last is Sarah Hudson. Say for instance, now let's say for the organization is looking for who to start to fire. Then Sarah Hudson is the one that is contributing least sales. Do you understand? So now this is pivot table. We are able to summarize and analyze the data. Okay. So now the next thing is from your pivot table, you can now have a pivot chart. A pivot chart will now enable us to now have a visual from this pivot table. Okay, not every organization wants to have an information at a glance from the data. Okay, and then the best way to have that is through chart. You understand? Let's say, for instance, you are using pie chart now. You know that the one that has the largest circumference is the one that has the largest sales. Or if you are using bar chart, the one that has the longest bar. You understand? So now, if I click here now, then I will now go to analyze. When I go to analyze, then I will select pivot chart. Do you also have blank here? You have blank. You are not supposed to have blank. It seems maybe you are not supposed to have blank here. We are supposed to just have the 4 sales person and then we have the grand total. Okay, but let's just continue. So which chart should we use? Column chart. I think if you are using pie chart here, all the circumferences always they all look the same. It's only little difference that is between them, isn't it? So now what we do is let me use a column chart. So now I'm selecting a column chart. So are we all here? Those that are joining online, any challenge?
No, we are good.
Okay. So now from pivot table, you'll be able to have your pivot chart. Then you must click within the pivot table before you can go to analyze and click pivot chart. Okay. So now, if I want to have my timeline means that if you now want to compare your data based on time or date, you have a timeline here. You can click on analyze here. I can go to insert timeline. If I can say date. Okay. Can click on insert timeline. So now if you are clicking on insert timeline, so now if you want to check how much sales is incurred by all these sales person based on monthly basis, if you click on January, you see these are the sales based on January. If you click on February, that means that all these data are just for January. Are you getting it? Like now, if you want to look into quarterly sales of each sales person, so you can come here and adjust it to quarters. Then you'll be able to check the first quarter, the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, and you can make comparison. But this data set now is only for the first quarter, and I think it's just for only January. Is that okay? If I want to take it back, I can click on this funnel here to take it back. Is that okay? So are we good to go? Okay. Is that what? You are lost. So what's the question? from timeline. Okay, so I'm coming. I said you click within the pivot table, then you go to this analyze, right? Then you start timeline. Then you select this. So okay. After you have this, automatically it's connected to your pivot table. Okay. Then I say you see the page. What do you have? Here we have a red line, okay, I should put it. So now the data is just for only January. So that's why we I think we are going to go on that, right? Okay. So now the next thing is that's about the timeline. So now let me quickly explain how to use this filter. So this filter now, if I want to know the sales incurred by the salesperson, let's say based on a particular region, are you with me? Then I can now take my region to this filter. After I take my region to the filter, then you will see your region here. You see my region here. Can you see? So now if I now come here, I can select, let's say I want to check the sales based on let's say northern region. I can click on north and click OK. You can see that the information here has changed. Can you see? Why is this one not too sharp? I take my region to under filter. Then after taking my region to under filter, then it appears here above the pivot table. It appears above the pivot table. Okay? Can you see where my cursor is? So now you will see region, then you see all in front. Then I now click on it. Then I select north, which means I want to know the sales incurred by the salesperson in the northern region. Those that are online, are you following up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I said that you will click here. What option are you doing? Okay, so you click on the region, you drag it here. After you drag it, it's showing here now. This is what I'm saying. And I said you come here to now select which region. Which of the region do you want to streamline your data? Do you understand? So now that's for filtering. From the word filter, it means that you want to streamline your data. Okay? So that's what it means. You click here. I say you should bring the region here. After bringing the region here, this region here now. Then you come here, you say north. And you say north, you click OK. You can see that the data has changed. Okay. Yeah. So now, if you are selecting your data from the pivot table feed, you can actually mark this box, or you click and drag. You click and drag it to wherever box you want to place it. Is that okay? So can I continue? Can I continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one.
Okay, so that's fine. So now I'm able to have explained how you can use your filter. So let me take off this region from the filter. So the next thing I want to explain is slicers. So slicer does the same function as the filter. Okay, so the slicer enables us to filter information on our dashboard, and it also enables your dashboard to be interactive. Okay, and what is a dashboard? A dashboard combines your pivot table, pivot chart, slicers on a plain surface. Yes, that's your dashboard. Combination of your charts, pivot tables, slicers, timeline on a plain surface, whereby it is interactive. Yes. So now let me now talk about how you can insert slicers. Okay. Remember I said slicer is used for filtering. Okay. And then slicer also enables your dashboard to be interactive. Interactive means that, let's say you are clicking Mr. A, everything about your dashboard is talking about Mr. A. You click on Mr. B, everything about the dashboard is talking about Mr. B. Okay. And then the reason why business analytics even come into place is because of the fact that if you are doing presentation using PowerPoint, you know that PowerPoint can be manipulated because you will have arranged your documents, the chart, and all that. But in business analytics, there will be a data source that's linked to your presentation, which cannot be altered. You understand? It's only if you manipulate that your data source that your dashboard can be manipulated. Okay, so most organizations now come to realize that why, if you are doing presentation for us, why not making it interactive? Not that you will have make a documentation and be presenting to us. Do you understand? Like you click on Sarah Olsen now, we all see every information about Sarah Olsen. You click on Kevin Flick, we all see every information about Kevin Flick. So glaring. Do you understand? So that's the one of the benefits of business analytics. So now let's now try to insert slicer. So if I go to, I'll click within this pivot table. If I click within this pivot table, can you see my screen? Kind of blunt, right? How do they adjust this one? Is it from here? Okay, it's from here. Okay. So we can continue, right? So now, if I click within this pivot table here, then I go to analyze. When I go to analyze, then I'll click on insert slicers. And when you click on insert slicers, you will see various, all our headings, yes, all our variables are here. So you can select them. I'll select region, I'll select product, I'll select outlet, I'll select salesperson. So the one that is value attributes, I leave it. Date, I may leave it, or if I like, I've already have the date as a timeline, so no need of clicking as a slicer. So I'll click OK. Immediately you click OK, you're going to have all these slicers like this. So now remember, I told you slicer enables us to filter the information on your dashboard. Okay. So now let's do a magic now. Let's say I'm clicking on Anna Smith. What do you notice? So the chart is talking about only Anna Smith. Even the pivot table is talking about Anna Smith. Those that are joining us online, so what can you see when I click on Anna Smith?
The chart shows only
Only for Anna Smith. So if I click on Kevin Frick, it only shows about only for Kevin Freak. But if I hold my control key and select Anna Smith and Kevin Freak, it will only show information about, let's say for instance, you want to compare the sales of those two staff. Okay, so now if I want to go back to default, then I click on that funnel. So if I want this information about the sales incurred by the salesperson to be based on online outlet, okay, I can select online outlet here. Every information about this table now, we're talking about the online outlet. Are you getting my point? Are you getting it? Okay. So now we use slicer for filtering, and then we also use it to control our pivot chart and dashboard. So now we are trying to build a dashboard, but before you can build a dashboard, we will have created multiple pivot charts. You understand? Multiple pivot chart, multiple pivot table, but you can have a single slicers. Okay, that single slicers is what you're going to connect to all your pivot tables. So what I'm trying to say is that, let's say for instance, the first objective you have this, the second objective let's say the sales across region and outlets, the third objective you do that one again. Then after having all those pivots for each objective, you should have pivot charts and pivot tables. Okay, so now if you now want to now connect all of them together, you'll be able to do that with the head of the slicers. Are you with me? You'll be able to do that with the head of what? The slicer. So now this is the first objective. Let's now try to now initialize the second objective. So now what's our second objective? What the second objective that I stated? Sales across what? That's the first objective now. That's what we just did. Yes. ISAs based on sales persons, right? And that's what we just did now. So the second objective, this is about time I mentioned. Okay, so for us to do the second objectives, you go back to your data source. You go back to your data. Okay, when you go back to your data, you follow the same process to create another pivot table. Okay, you click within the data, you go to insert, you go to pivot table, and you say, okay, it will align the table range for you. Then you say, okay. Okay, so now after clicking on it, you have so what you do next is I want to have my sales. The reason why we are using only sales here is because it's the only column that has value attributes. Is that okay? So now I want to compare sales. It's still showing cans. So let me go to value feed list. I want to say something. Okay, what's that? How did I go back? For the second, yeah, go back to, you click on the sheet now. Click on your data sheet. Is your data sheet, this sheet 2 over there, or you check? Yes, is it sheet 2 or sheet 1? Which one? Sheet 2. So you click on it, then you go to insert, you follow the process again. Is that okay? Can I continue? Those that are online, can I continue?
Yes, please, you can continue.
Okay. So now after
Yes, sir.
having my sum of sales here, then let's say the second objective is I want to compare the sales across the region. Let's say I want to compare the across the region with respect to the product. So that means that you're going to have your region. You can have your region by the row, which is this, and you can have your product by the column. Is that okay? So here now you can see in the east, these are the sales in the east based on product item 1. This is sales in the east based on product item 2. This is sales in the east based on product item 3. Let's now look into, you want to know which of these products has the highest sales in the east. Which of the products? Tell me for east, tell me for north, and for south and west. Which of the products have higher sales? East, north, south, west. I'm waiting now. East is item 2. Yes. North. North is item 1. Okay. South. Item 2. What about the west? Item 3. Okay. So now after having this now, then we can convert this to chart as well. But you are all here now. So what's the challenge? You move the product to your column now. No, you are only selecting it. You click and drag it. You click and drag it. Is it working now? Okay. So now I want to convert this to chart. Then I'll click within the pivot table field. Then select analyze. And after selecting analyze, I'll go to pivot table. So now, which of these charts can I use? I have a line chart. Pie chart is not best for this. Bar. So I can use, we have scatter chart. It's not, you can see it's not displaying. Any of the chart that is not displaying, that means that it's not compatible. Is that okay? I can decide to have a line chart. So can you see? So this information is depicting, let's say, the second objectives. Okay, so now if you now want to do the next objective, which is the third objective, then you go back to your data again. After going back to your data, you still go back to your insert, say pivot table, create another one again. So now let's say, for instance, now this one now I want to do, let's say, sales across outlets. I'm taking outlets under my row. Let me change this one from count to sum. Okay, then I can come here, go to analyze. Can have an area chart. So outlet, let's say outlet, and then so let me just use outlet only. Let me just use outlet only. So is that okay? So that's for the third objectives. So are you all here? Where are you? Second objective or third objective? Or you are still at the first? You said? Yes, I use area charts for the third one. Any challenge? Which objective are you? Second. And do the third now. You go back to your data. After going back to your data, then you still go to the set. Then you grab this one. Then you switch every to the other. For the third objective, the you want chance. Yeah. So, are you all following up now? So that's for your own area chart is looking different from mine, right? Is it the same? It's the same. Okay. So that's for the third objectives. So now if you now want to do for the fourth, okay, you still go back to your data source. Are you with me? You still go back to your data source, you click within the data, you click on insert. After clicking on insert, then you go to pivot table, you say okay. So what should we have as our fourth objective? We have our 6 here. Should we have okay, let me see. We've talked about the products. Let me take region. Have we compared region and outlet before? We only compare region and products. Okay, so let's compare region and outlet. Then I can now go to analyze. And I go to analyze, can go to pivot table. So let me look into. So let me have this chart. So now I'm having 4 pivot table and 4 pivot charts. If you want to format any of the charts, you can click here on this plus sign. If you want to remove the green lines, if you want to remove the legend, you can format it. As you want to give it a heading, you can do that here. Okay, and if you want to choose different chart type and decide to choose this, you can choose this depending. So any question? Can I continue? Any question? No. This I think it's column now. You will see it's part of all those column charts there. I think it's bar, yes. You see it as bar, but you didn't choose this one now. You choose the two on the same row. I choose region on the row, then I take outlets. That's why we are not having the same thing. So I take the region under the row, then I take the outlet under the column. So can we continue? Those that are joining us online, any question? Those that are joining us online, any question? Are you all following?
No, for now.
No, for now.
Yes.
So that's fine. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to now we want to create our dashboard. But before creating a dashboard, the next thing we do is to connect our slicers. To connect our slicers to all the pivot charts and pivot tables. So how do we do that? We are going to click on each slicer. After clicking on each slicer, you right click on it. By the time you right click on the slicer, it's supposed to give you this long drop down. It's supposed to give you this a drop down, and then in the among the drop down, you will see report connection. You will see report connection. Then you click on report connections. After you click on report connections, it will ask you that to check all the pivot table that you want to connect the slicer to. So I will check this pivot table 1, this 3, the 4th. So are you here? You go back to the sheet that has the slicers. Okay, you can only have your slicer once in the sheet. Then you now connect that slicer to all the pivot tables that you have created. Okay. No. You are not creating another slicer. The previous one you've done before. Maybe I think that was the first sheet. Yes, go back there. That slicer that you have there, you now right click on each of the slicer. Then you click, or let me say you select report connection. After you click on report connection, then you are going to check all the boxes. I just did for the region slicer. Then let me do for product slicer. I'll right click. I'll go to report connections. I'm going to check all the boxes. I'll do for the athlete slicer. I'll go to report connection. So I will come here also under the sales person. I'll go to report connection. So are we on the same page? Have you all done that? So after doing this now, the next thing you now do is that you create a new sheet. You are going to create a new sheet. And how do you create a new sheet? Not a new pivot table, a new sheet. by clicking on this plus sign now. This is a new sheet. Then all the pivot charts that you have, then you take it to that new sheet. So what we are trying to do now is I want to create a dashboard. Thereby we can now have a combination of all those pivot charts, the slicers together. Okay. So now this sheet is, I think it's sheet 7. No. Sheet 8. Let me rename it as dashboard. Okay. So now I can take this first table. Can take it here. Okay. So now I can go back to this other one. I take it here. I want to pick the third one. Take it here. And I want to take the last one. On this side to remove the grid lines here. I remove the grid lines here. So are we all here? So are we all here? Are we taking all the charts to the new sheet? I'm waiting for your response. So where are you? Your own what? It changed. How? The line is not there again.
Yes.
Are you sure you are making use of the going back to the data at every point in time when you are trying to do your new pivot tables? Okay. Those that are online, is there any challenge? Were you able to move your chart? Hmm? Okay. So decide okay. So what is that? Does it change there too? That's that one. What is now not changing? Okay, these two. It is from your check your slider. If you check your slider, then it's issue by our slider. You need found this one back. You need found this and you put some kind of this one. You need take this one and that. And remember I told you that it's the slider that is controlling everything. Yes, that is everything that is there. Go back to where you have your slider. Then click on that function. It's take it to default. Immediately you right click on each slider and you report connection and you connect it to other people. It is that slider that is controlling everything. See what we get. Okay. Those that are joining us online, is there any challenge? Yeah, if you go back to that new sheet, you will see that everything will be showing now. So those that are online, any challenge, remember that the slicer is one controlling all your pivot charts. Since you've right click and then you've selected report connection, and after report connection, you've selected all the pivot charts. So it's the slicer that is controlling your entire pivot chart and tables that you've created. Are you with me? Those that are online, I'm talking to you. Hello? Those that are online, any challenge? Let me try.
So there's no challenge, we are good.
Okay, so that's fine. Coming. So let's continue. So we are all good, right? Okay. So now let's take our slicers, take it one after the other. So the dashboard sheet. Yeah. Copy. I'm pasting it. I go back to outlet. I'm pasting it. Says person. In fact, I want so you can design your dashboard. Can design it as you like, but you make sure that your dashboard is making sense, like can beautify it the way you want. Okay, but it must be standard. Are you with me? You can check more about different dashboard design. You can Google it. You see different design that you can have. Okay, you can have different designs of dashboard. Okay, but this is not yet a dashboard unless, or let me say until we have these grid lines removed. Remember I told you is combine pivot chart, tables, slicers on a plain surface. So now this grid line has to be, we have to remove it before it can be called a dashboard. So now let me quickly do something now. If I click on Anna Smith, what happened? You will see that the slicer control all the four charts. Do you understand? So let me take it back by clicking on that funnel. If I click on the northern region, every information about the north will be showing here on the dashboard. Okay, so now while you are doing presentation, you click on the variable, then you take the audience through the dashboard. Do you understand? So it's even the best way of doing presentation now compared to using PowerPoint. Is that okay? So let me take it back. If I want to know about product item number 1, once I click on it, it will be telling this one now is telling us that Anna Smith has a total sales of this on product item number 1. Kevin Frick has a total sales of this on item number 1. Do you understand? In the north, this is sales. We have highest sales on item number 1, item 1 under the eastern region. Are you getting it? So now after having this now, if I click on that funnel symbol, then it will take me to default. Are we all there? Do you have the same view that I have here on your system? I'll check. In case you are blind. Is that? The arrangement is done automatically. They see how they going downward before you can click on side. I want it to be sideways. You can make it either this side or this side. Yes, that doesn't mean that that's the standard. You understand? So that if you want to make any selection, it's very easy for you. You have the dashboard there. Why is those space now? Okay. These are the other. Why is this one? Okay, yeah, this one is only for very safe spaces. You don't have any region. You don't have region on that keyboard chat. That's why I showed you. Now do you go back to the selection of the select what? You click on this funnel. Yes. If you click on that funnel symbol, it will take you to the default. Is that okay? So after the class, I would like you to still check out. You can browse it different dashboard designs. You see different kind of design that I can have. You understand? So you can work on that later. Okay. So for the purpose of this class, I'll make the design simple like this. Are you with me? So now the next thing is, if you're having your dashboard cannot, your dashboard is incomplete without you having a title. Okay, so now for us to have a title, I will highlight, let's say the three rows. After highlighting it, I'll go to my home. When I go to my home, I can say merge and center. Can you see what I just did? I leave like 2-3 rows above all my charts, so that I'll be able to input my title. Okay, so now you are going to highlight the cells. You are going to highlight the 3 rows. Then you highlight it to a point. Have you done that? Have you highlighted it? I'm waiting now. I'm going to highlight it. Then you go to home. That's why when you click it, then you right click. You say inside. So you still go back to the right. Additional tools. So are you there? Also, it's also about the time. Those that are joining us online, are we all following? Any question? So I want to put a title, yes, on my dashboard. So I have to highlight the first, I'm highlighting the first 3 rows on my dashboard. So after highlighting the first 3 rows, then I click on Home. I go to Merge and Center. When I go to Merge and Center, then I on my cap lock. I can say sales management, dashboard report. So when I have this now, I can highlight it. If I want to change the font, I'll go to my home. I'll give it a font. This is the font size. Can give it Nigerian. I can give it a color. So if you want to include a logo, you want to add a logo to your dashboard, you can click on Insert. You click on Picture. Let me click outside first. You click on Insert. You click on Picture. So you'll be able to take a logo from your system. Is that okay? And if you want to remove this grid line, you go to View. So when you go to View, you're going to uncheck the box for grid lines. Are we all here? Which one? To remove the line, you go to View. You click within the anywhere in the dashboard. You go to View, then you see grid lines there. Grid lines. Under View, you see grid lines, which is being checked. Then you're going to uncheck the box. Have you done that? And immediately you uncheck it, you see that it becomes a plain surface, isn't it? So have you put the title? Okay. Those that are joining us online, is there any question?
No, sir, we're good.
Okay. So now, after having this time, I've already put the title and I've already changed, I've already removed the grid lines. So now the next thing is, I've already taught you how you can put a logo. So now this background now, I can give you the color if you like. You click anywhere within the background, you Control A to select all. After you Control A to select all, then you can come to home here. Can give you the color. Can give you the color. And then after then, you can as well go to page layout. When you go to page layout, we have different themes. You can give your dashboard different themes. So we didn't move our timeline that time. I just remember now. This is our timeline. Let me take this timeline. For your timeline also to be active, just like the slicer, you're still going to have right click on it and do report connections. And you're going to connect it with all your pivot tables. So timeline is only used when you are trying to check. Yes, sir? The timeline, okay. I said, if you want to take your timeline, I said we didn't take the timeline to our dashboard. Then I now go back to the sheet where we have the timeline. That's sheet 4. Okay. But the timeline works just like the slicer, how the slicer works. So the same way you connect this to all the pivot charts, or let me say the pivot tables, the same way you're going to connect the timeline. So you go right click on the timeline, you go to report connections. And when you go to report connections, you're going to select all the pivot tables. Then you say okay. And after doing that, remember the timeline enables you to make comparison based on comparing your variables based on the dates, either monthly basis, either quarterly basis, or either weekly basis, depending. Okay, so that's the functionality of the timeline. So I want to copy this. I'm copying it, and I'm taking it to my dashboard. So now, if I should click on Q1, can you see my screen? If I should click on Q2, you can see that everything is blank, which implies that all our data is what? Is in Q1, the first quarter. You said Q1 is first quarter. Can't you see it in on your timeline? Okay, let me drag this timeline. If you go to your timeline, if you see, check this drop down, you see that I'm having year, I'm having quarters. Under the drop down, I still have month and days. So now if you want to know, if you want your dashboard to be talking about maybe the sales, everything about February sales or January sales, you're going to click January. If I'm clicking on February, everything is blank. That means that we don't have any data or let me say all the information on our dashboard is just for January. That's why we are having blank. Then if I take it back to January, can you see? So the timeline also controls your dashboard. Okay. And before you can do that, you will have established a report connection. Have you done that? Have you done that then? No. Why? Go back to the sheet that has the timeline. Or you need the timeline that. Sir? I didn't do this. Take that timeline from that sheet. Take it to. Is your own title also disappearing? No. When you take your cursor from it. When you select on the click on region, and the region is not showing, it's not part of the pivot chart there. So have you all moved the timeline? Have you all moved the timeline? I'm waiting for your response. You moved it, right? Have you established the connection? I did. Yes. Then translate February. Click on February. That means that I got to get it. Click on Essence. That's why it wants. It's supposed to control the entire sheet. So those that are joining us online, so are we all following up? No, you have to check it. Yes, it's supposed to be blank. If you click on February, all the data, all this data now is in January. Okay, so those that are online, any question? So if you want to turn this presentation to a PDF, what you do is to go to File. When you go to File, you say can publish. Let me go to Publish. In fact, you can publish it to Power BI, which is advanced business analytics tools. And if you are not doing that, you can export. You can export as PDF. Save and convert to PDF. You select PDF, then you save it. Yes, publish is there. So that publish now, you see when you click on publish, you see Power BI there. It's not showing. I'm coming. When I click on file here, I'm having publish here. Yeah, publish.
Yes, they publish.
Publish on my own pen there. Yes, it's not there. The language that I cannot publish to Power BI from there. We are pick up file, we are publishing. So that means that can no longer, you cannot publish on the end to Power BI because the only option you are having is to publish to Power BI. Can you see? So now we also have export. So you can create a PDF. And have you tried creating a PDF? Is it working? They are going to choose PDF here from the options. Then you save it.
Well, after putting the PDF, it's now showing publish.
Yes, publish to PDF now. Publish to PDF. Is that what you have? Can either you save as. So now, after this is a dashboard now. So now from this dashboard, I can now have a documentation. Yes, you can now have, let's say, details, writings on based on this dashboard. Are you with me? So now those compilation of that writing compilation now can be done in Microsoft Office. Thereby, you can now have the totals based on the salesperson. The salesperson with highest sales is also person followed by this. Do you understand? So now you now give a detailed information about this dashboard. Do you understand? Just like let's say you want to make a documentation about this report now. You understand? All this information now you have to now break it down and attach it with this. But if it's a presentation, it might not be needed. You'll be saying it verbally. You understand why you click and everything is changing. Do you understand? So any question? So any question? Those that are joining us online, if you have question, please kindly signify and ask your question. Part of your assessment will be creation of a dashboard report. So which implies that you have to master it and you have to practice it as your leisure. You said? Of dashboard, yes, which we just did now. How you can create a dashboard report. Those that are online, any question? Those that are online, I'm waiting for your question. Is there no question? I will assume that everything is fine, right?
So mine is actually not a question. I don't have access to the data. I don't know how I can get it, sir.
The data, are you not on the platform?
I'm actually on the platform, but I don't know if
I
it's
think it
there.
has been shared on the platform now. When did you join?
The platform and it's actually last year. So I don't
Last
know.
year.
Yeah, but I'm actually on the data analysis group, but I've not seen anything like.
Okay, so I will tell the moderator to reshare it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So any other person, if you have a question or you have any opinion, because in our next class now we'll be talking about data modeling in our next class, which is an advanced form of this. Okay. So now, if you do not understand this, by the time we get to data modeling, you may have issues. So that's why I'm asking. If you have a question, you ask me now. So I will assume that the class is well understood. Okay. So any question here? So are we good to go? So no question. Okay. So that's nice. So you will permit me to stop here. Yeah, for today. So try and practice at your leisure. So if you don't have the data will be shared on the platform data analysis group. So, and then if you have any challenge, by the time we have our class, then we're doing our next class, so you can come with your question. Is that okay? So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so till we meet in the next class. So bye for now.
Thank you very much, sir. Actually enjoyed your class. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.